My guest today is Will Coile out of Los Angeles. Will, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. One of the reasons why I wanted to have you come on is because you seem to be doing something a little bit different than most magicians are doing right now. And it's an honor to have you here. So thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I feel like you have had prolific artists on this podcast, and I have extreme imposter syndrome currently, but I really appreciate it. I'm
I
honored.
appreciate that. Well, you're a part of the group now.
I'm honored. I'm honored.
Absolutely. I always start at the beginning. We always go all the way back. Some of my guests had trouble going all the way back, but we'll go. You started magic when you were 6 years old. Tell me what that experience is like and how a young wizard found himself where he is now.
I'm laughing because you said some of your guests have trouble going all the way back. I was just like, are you saying they're old or what? Oh, they're real old.
I can't get canceled.
Yeah.
I can't
No.
get canceled. So,
I yeah, I think I have. There's several moments. I didn't have one moment per se, but there were several moments that sort of compounded to my interest. And I remember my dad showing me a magician's choice trick, and I thought that was amazing. Right. And then I remember seeing Lance Burton with his candle act, and I thought, that's what I want to be on stage specifically. I
uh-huh.
was always drawn by the theatrics
Hmm.
of everything and really enjoyed that. And then I got a magic kit from Toys R Us, rest in peace. Toys R Us, Marvin's Magic, I believe. I'm sure that was it. And just couldn't stop performing for my family and my older siblings. And that's when it all happened
You
for
got
me.
bit by the bug.
The bug was, yeah, bit me.
Yeah, yeah. It did something.
The bug is a radioactive bug. And yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then the internet was a big thing then. We didn't have a computer. So I made my parents go to FedEx Kinko's and we'd go
Hmm.
to like Steven's Magic, was that a thing? I don't remember.
Steven's Magic Emporium.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that was
Yeah.
it. It was blue and white, and I didn't know what I was getting, but I just
Yeah.
realized, just adding to
Yeah.
cart,
Yeah.
adding to cart. So,
Did you ever go to the shops here when?
that's Georgia.
Yeah.
No, so I'm from Georgia. I grew up a lot in Texas as a kid,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and we lived in Dallas, Fort Worth, sort of I've always been out in the suburbs or the
Hmm.
country. So
Hmm.
like Justin, Texas, and then I lived a while in Amarillo, Texas.
Oh,
And
wow.
if there's one thing that Amarillo does not have, well, it doesn't have a lot of things, but it definitely doesn't have a magic shop. But I met a magician there. Shout out Lindy Phillips. He was like a Christian magician, motivational speaker, amazing person. And he kind of helped me with magic. And I remember working his dinner theater in Amarillo. I opened up for him in like the sixth grade. I can't even, who knows what I did. I think I did like mouth coils and Jay Sankey's Nailed. You remember that? The
Yeah.
picture? Love
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah.
And he sold me a bunch of his stuff like for cheap. I couldn't do any of it. It was way too mature for me, like a Russian roulette routine.
Oh,
But I
wow.
was just like, this is amazing. And then there was a
Yeah.
website called magicvideodepot.com. Do you remember this?
I don't.
And I joined, and it was like a YouTube for magicians. And,
Oh,
I had
wait. Yeah. Wow. That went all the way back.
had forums like the cafe, and you could get like to different levels if you posted enough and if you wrote enough. And I was obsessed with being conjurer, you know,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
uh,
Yeah. That went all the way back. Yeah.
Tyler Wilson was on there,
Okay.
I think. I don't know, but it was a fun time. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Do you feel like as a kid, were you having visions of what you wanted your magic to look like as a kid?
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing in Vegas on stage. I'm in a suit, you know,
Yeah.
and I did it a lot. We moved a lot, so I really honed in on magic and
Hmm.
theater, but primarily magic as a way to make myself feel seen at school,
Yeah.
you know?
For me, it was almost like an escape because I had personal things as a child going on. So,
Same.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
How were your parents with, like, were they like, oh, David Copperfield's new specials on, or Were they
Yeah.
cultivating it like in a good way, or they just weren't interested in it? And
They were supportive and cultivating it, maybe
yeah.
too much.
Oh wow.
No, I mean, always encouraged me to get out there. And I remember when I moved in the middle of like 8th grade, it was particularly really rough. We moved from Texas back to Georgia. So I was born in Georgia, Texas, and then moved back to Georgia. And I felt so lonely. And the first day of school, I cried, came home bawling my eyes out. And my mom was like, take your cards tomorrow. And that's a Southern accent, if anyone's wondering.
It translated for me.
I just needed the listeners to know. And I did, and it was like everything changed. I became Magic
Wow.
Man until I graduated from high school. So I think my parents were supportive of that and me doing theater and performing, which was that part of my childhood was positive.
You remember the first time you performed an effect, and like I think like most of us we practice and we're like, we don't know if it's gonna work, but if it does, cool. When it landed for you the first time.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it was the Mercury, anything with the Mercury card fold. I
Mm,
remember doing that thing till my hands were broken. I don't know. But
yeah.
Paper Clips by Jay Sankey.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, I did a lot of card to mouth. I still do a
Okay.
lot of card to mouth. But David Stone had a version, and I remember getting his stuff. And um, I think when I could figure out a move like that, because I was always really into the performance aspect,
Mm-hmm.
wasn't really a flourisher, a Dan and Dave guy. I mean, I've
Mm-hmm.
respected that, and I definitely tried. But when I got a move down that felt like a move monkey move, I was like, oh
Mm-hmm.
my God,
Yeah.
this is real.
Yeah. Did you associate like along your journey, did you know other magicians, or how old were you until you found out like, oh, there is this huge industry of other magicians?
Well, honestly, Magic Video Depot, the internet helped a lot, and I
Mm-hmm.
can't imagine people growing up before the internet in Amarillo, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
wondering, "Am I the only one out there?" But when I joined Magic Video Depot, which I had no idea I'd be talking about that today, it was a huge wake up call. Like, there's this community, and people
Yeah.
are supporting each other, and people are highlighting different effects and teaching them, and
Yeah.
that was really cool. And I also went to a magic convention when I was in 8th grade in Vegas, the World Magic Convention. It's like Lance
I'm not
Burton's
sure.
teen weekend.
Like
And
the IBM convention maybe?
I don't know,
Or
I got to meet Lance Burton and Chris Angel. That's all I remember.
that's very cool.
And Johnny Thompson and Max Maven and Eugene Berg. It was really cool. I was like
Mm-hmm.
14. And that was awesome because, like Kristen Lambert was there and this other guy that used to do stuff with CDs. Can't remember his name. Um, Bill, maybe?
Bill
I don't know.
Cook? Bill
Yes.
Cook, yeah.
Yes. So we're all, I think, around the same age. And that was encouraging to see that I wasn't the only 13-year-old, 14-year-old doing double lifts. So,
That's cool.
um, yeah, that was cool. And I got to meet my hero,
Yeah.
Lance Burton.
I think along the way we find ourselves creating effects or performing effects that we start to make our own, and we start adding different elements to it. When did you find out that yours had an emotional tie to it, or that magic can be storytelling and it's coming from memory, and presenting it can really.
Yeah. I think it started when later. I mean, definitely not when I was 13. I was doing it to definitely make myself seem cool and make friends and impress girls. But in college, when I was studying theater and later in high school, I think that was the moment where I recognized that magic was theater and
Mm-hmm.
art and
Mm-hmm.
can have so much of an impact on people that I think is overlooked by many magicians, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
So I sort of produced my first one man show, so to speak, in 2016 with the intent of creating more of a piece of theater versus a magic show. And,
Right.
seeing people's reaction to that and sort of trying to present magic as a different aesthetic and vibe as well than what I was
Mm-hmm.
seeing. And seeing people's reaction to that, particularly in Los Angeles, where everyone tries to be cool, it was really powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have a lot of themes that are like I would think they would be personal to you that kind of come up in your shows. Are they personal for you, the themes that you're putting in your shows, or is it just part of creating the effect to have the
Yeah,
audience feel a certain way?
I think they're mainly all personal to me. I mean, that's the easiest way to draw inspiration for me, at least right now. I don't know if that's how it's always going to be, but right now
Mhm.
I'm really interested in themes that have been had an impact in my life, and like addiction and identity and trauma and pain
Mhm.
and exploring that. I don't think like addiction something I'm like, well, I've really seen this in magic explored, and that's interesting. And so,
Mhm.
but I mainly do it for me and just explore
Yeah.
what I'm going through and kind of what I want to talk about and what I'm
Yeah.
processing in the moment. So
Well, I think it's great. I think it's making, when we're adding originality to the pool, it's adding to it, and it's cultivating, a richer sense of path for magic, I think, because right
yeah.
now there's so much, and I'll say it, hot take, there's so much like of the same going on
Which
that
don't get me
it's,
wrong, I love the same, and there's a
yeah.
time and place for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
100%.
yeah,
100%. I mean, there's what I'll call legacy acts who are still performing now that love that. Been doing the same thing since the 80s. They've mastered it. It still hits. It's great. But sometimes you see them and you're just like, "Oh, more of the same. Cool." And I think for the audiences, it's more important. Forget about how magicians feel about other magicians' magic, but when audiences are seeing it, it feels different for them. They're seeing something that they saw on TV.
exactly.
Like they'll go
Yeah.
see a magician and say, "Wow, I saw that same magician do the same thing on World's Greatest Magic in 1993. It's amazing to see it in person."
Yeah.
So that's also really interesting.
Yeah, I agree. And I lost my train of thought. I was really listening to you. I was
You
trying to
got
think
sucked
of,
as a listener. You got sucked in as a listener.
I got sucked in as a listener. For the once I wasn't thinking about myself.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think if we were hit with the same emotional magic every time, it'd be a lot. And I do
Yeah.
still do magic that is legacy magic
Mhm.
as well, and that's fun,
Mhm.
and there's a place for that. And
Yeah.
I I love magicians that do it for that reason and just to be a magician, entertain. And right now I'm just really interested in breaking it all apart and just getting that emotional at its core, that emotions at their core, and seeing what we can do with it to really get to people.
100%. I think it's really important. You're one of the main reasons why I wanted to have you come on, and we briefly talked about it off air, is just your whole, like, the aesthetic. I know that sounds so modern and trendy, but the aesthetic behind the whole thing is so, for me, I feel it's so genuine, and it's so like, if I'm gonna perform magic, this is how I'm gonna perform it. I'm not gonna have somebody come in and design the artwork, and it's like having complete creative control. I mean, just looking at your profile too, which is like kind of like a business card, but it's you just looking at it. It's so, the aesthetic of it is, it's all spot on. Like it all just makes sense. Like it is magic. You are, magical, and you're sitting in different environments that give off magic, and the whole thing, whether that's planned or not, it's just very well intended, and I would
Well,
think, and
that's really, thank God it's working. No, that's really that's really encouraging to hear, honestly. I mean, I do have friends design artwork, but I have a good friend who has been through a lot with me, and he's a designer. So I think we have that
but he
advantage.
knows your taste.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Exactly.
guess
And
that's what it is that you have
yeah.
a very deep taste for what you want the whole thing to look like.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and I think I haven't perfected that, but I really appreciate that it gives off that appearance,
Yeah.
because I do really fight with the Instagram magician persona. And this year, and I mean throughout the years, I've been trying to put out videos, and I'm such about, and I know I'm not the only magician that said this, but I'm so much about the live show and the live interaction and the being in the space of,
Mhm.
the context of the space. And
Mhm.
uh, that I find Instagram magic to be just not my thing and just off-putting. But unfortunately, it gets views and
Yeah.
gigs and traction. So,
Yeah.
but I always want to have a little asterisk, like my show is better than this. This is just for Instagram. I'm
We
just
all
thinking of the
do.
things I can do on Instagram. Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I don't think a lot of it is planned, like the environments and whatnot. I mean, some of it has started to be more planned, but
Yeah.
I guess it is just more cultivating who I am, and it's hopefully coming out through magic.
Yeah. There's one, I don't know if it's a reel or what it is, but of you performing an effect, but just the way it's shot. Like now there's somebody on Instagram who's using like Meta the
The
man
glasses.
yeah,
Yeah,
that showed my age. Sorry about
it's okay.
that. The glasses with the cameras in them, and they're doing card tricks on their college campus and stuff. That's cool. That's great. Super trendy. You'll get a lot of, numbers that way.
Yeah,
But the way you shot your video was it wasn't like, hey guys, I'm so and so, and watch me do some magic for this random person at the grocery store. It
yeah,
was very much like, I'm about to do some magic for somebody. If you want to record it, you can, sort of situation. And the way it was
totally.
shot was like, it was very well shot. And I was like, huh. Even the angles, because what you were doing is definitely something that angles are kind of tricky,
Well,
but
I want to know what it was.
it
Um,
was a card trick. I don't know.
in a coffee shop.
Maybe, yeah.
I
With
mean,
that awesome fleece you had on,
yes, that was
by
in
the way.
Amsterdam. Thank you.
Very
Shout
well
out.
dressed too, by the way.
What's that?
Very well dressed, by the
Thank you.
way. Like, yeah.
I have a friend that tells me this, and I'm not trying to. This seems so egotistical. He's a magician, but he's like, "You're one of the only magicians that I know that knows how to dress besides like a tuxedo, or something."
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not a suit, it's casual. Like, it's casual. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
dope.
think that's probably intention. There's a plan behind that. But no, I think I know what you're talking about. It's in Amsterdam. I was performing in Amsterdam, which I'm about to do it again. And I literally was like, I don't really want to film this, but my business partner and my friend kept pushing me. So it came from the mindset of, oh, okay, well, so, but it is like a casual, two really cool guys. Yeah, thanks. I'm glad it read well on the video.
Yeah. What kind of environments or imagery influence the mood you create on stage?
I think film and music influence a lot for me. Theater, live theater. I'm really drawn in by. Um, that's a great question, man. I'm drawn in by a lot of different musicians that I feel like I want to capture that feeling in my performance. Lord Huron is a big one. Just to name a specific, the way he's created a world of character and world building within his music, I think is so cool, and it has that sort of Western aesthetic. I also think, yeah, like old Western stuff. I'm really drawn into the old West aesthetic and have even researched Western magicians. And
Mm-hmm.
um, there's a guy named Anton Zamlock who I've talked about before in performances, who was this guy who traveled around to saloons and with bandits, and I thought that was so cool. And, in films like The Prestige, films like whatever that Guillermo del Toro movie is with Bradley Cooper, but other pieces of film too. I mean, I think anything that makes me feel those chills, that it really
Yeah.
inspires me. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else concrete that's really an inspiration. Really drawn to like flowers. That was kind of an obsession for a while, and
It's very cool.
yeah, and the fragility of it all and the beauty. And
Mm-hmm.
I also think faith. And I was brought up really religious,
Mm-hmm.
and still kind of don't know what that means for me. But I
Yeah.
think the exploration of spirituality and is interesting to me,
Yeah.
and I talk about it kind of in my show as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What movies lately are inspiring you?
Man, I just saw Eddington. It was great. I don't know if
Really?
it was inspirational, but it was really good.
Mm-hmm.
What movies have inspired me lately?
I know like a lot of magicians have been inspired by like Sinners recently, just the aesthetic of that whole
Yeah.
thing. And
Honestly, didn't love it. So, hot take. Sorry. Yeah,
what didn't you like about it? I'm curious.
I
I'm
I
a
liked it. I liked
yeah.
it. I just thought some of it was cheesy.
Yeah.
I wasn't particularly drawn to the big one shot that everyone's been drawn to. The aesthetic was beautiful. I mean, it was shot
Yeah,
beautifully.
yeah. Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan's awesome. Look at that.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan's awesome. It just wasn't it didn't live up to the hype for me. For me.
Yeah, yeah. I fell into the hype, and then I do a lot of writing. So
Yeah.
for me it was like I have a short story that I adapted into a screenplay. So for me, it was the technical side of what the movie's going to look like
Yeah.
and how it's shot.
Totally.
So the one take, regardless of the content within that scene, technically the way that that soundstage is
Yeah.
built, obsessed
Totally.
because they were doing something that's very hard to go through walls and go through ceilings and
Oh
go
yeah.
through, that sort of direction's interesting. I'm obsessed with the fact that Ryan Coogler shot it in 7 different formats.
Totally. And this is stuff I don't have knowledge about. So this is, yeah, very good to hear.
Yeah, shot it on film in 7 different formats and purposely released it to different theaters that were able to have that format
Cool.
shot in.
Cool.
So you're experiencing, that movie differently than you would be going to your local theater and it's just a
Yeah.
normal.
Love it. I thought of a movie. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Sorry, Baby. I just saw it. Do you know it?
Heard of it.
Fantastic. 10 out of 10. It's inspirational because it's just so real and like just inserted into our reality, and the dialogue is so real and the acting's so real. And Victor, I believe, is their name.
Mhm.
Victoria, maybe.
Mhm.
Fantastic artist, wrote, directed, acted in it, and kind of gave that mixture of humor and drama and,
Yeah.
sadness in a way that I tried to make my show. And I thought it was so touching and beautiful. And it didn't end in a bow necessarily, but it still ended in a way that really left you feeling a certain way and
Yeah.
talking about it. So I would definitely recommend it. And I think that's probably films like that are more stripped back have been really
Yeah.
inspirational to me.
Yeah. I think one that's kind of, I don't know if how old it is, but it's about Leonard Bernstein with Bradley Cooper.
Bradley Cooper. Yeah,
Yeah. And just
exactly. Yeah.
watching that and just great storyline, but just the whole premise of the way it's shot and everything. Just I'm
Yeah.
really into technical, like I'm watching movies differently.
Cool. Yeah.
Storylines are cool and they're great, but the way they're being shot is
Yeah.
amazing.
And I
Yeah.
guess I'm looking at it more of like a performance, character acting, like very arc of the character. And so,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, sorry, baby. Incredible. Eddington was great too.
Yeah. I'll have to go see them. I'm due for a weekend at the cinema, just sit
Yeah.
there and just watch movies all weekend.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your experience. You were fortunate enough to tour with Netflix and Janelle Monáe for the Glass Onion experience, which you've explained to me is a little bit more like immersive theater. Talk to me about bringing your work, your magic to another creative world. Yeah, you could explain it.
I mean, immersive is essentially the world building and acting is happening all around you instead of you're sitting in the seats watching someone on stage. It's like you're at a coffee shop and the acting in the show is unfolding with the barista, with the people sitting down, and everyone's an actor of some sort. And it still has a story, it still has beats, and it still has, beginning, middle, and end, but it's all around you and you're really part of the story and the world building, and it's highly interactive, which is a lot like magic. So I think they blend very well. And they put on original shows. They work with clients like Universal, Netflix, and yeah, we did this like multiple city stop where it was a dinner and with Janelle Monáe, and sort of the different supporting cast were different parts of her. I don't even remember what Glass Onion was about. I think they're invited to this dinner for
Uh-huh.
something, and I got to play her or someone's life coach, and all of it was interacting with people during dinner. And I had tiny moments of magic that sort of enhanced the story. One was an appearing rose. There were a few card trick moments throughout the table at different points, and I got to do magic before with the people as they walked in. Got to do magic for Ryan Johnson. It was awesome.
Very cool.
And yeah, I mean, I think as far as implementing magic to immersive, like I said, it's so easy. It's the same. You're doing the same thing. You're accomplishing the same goal, and it definitely is interesting for audiences to see magic in that light because they're used to, I'm a magician and I'm going to be
Hmm.
doing a card trick for you,
Right.
versus I'm Will, or I'm whatever my name was. I'm the life coach. We're talking and I'm incorporating magic. So it kind of confuses people in a wacky way that I like.
Mhm.
because they don't know what they're seeing, and I think that's fun and interesting.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, it was a ton of fun, and we did a few nights out there doing magic for Ryan Johnson and being compared by him to Ricky Jay, which was based on one card trick I did, was awesome, and
Yeah.
I'll take that to my grave. I
Yes.
don't know if it's true, but I will take it to my grave. Um, and I mean, I love that type of perform. I mean, I studied theater in college, and I love that type of performance
Mhm.
and incorporating magic into it as well. We just
Right.
did a big show last fall called Creep for CBS that was also heavily magic and acting
Mhm.
involved.
Very cool. Do you when you're working with brands, you've worked with other brands, Soho House and Alfred Coffee and different brands. Do you approach those gigs differently when they come to you or you're going to them, or do you have an intention in mind there going into it, or
It definitely it's different if they're coming to you versus you reaching out to them. If they're coming to you, they usually have a vision for what they want it to be. And
Mhm.
certain brands like Alfred, and I've done different tech company brands and whatnot. It's very much I'm playing the part of the magician.
Right.
Um, though there's times for that I've sort of incorporated creative input for sure. But if I'm pitching to a brand like Soho House, it's definitely with my vision in mind, and it's open to more like collaboration, I feel, which I really like. And Soho House has been an awesome, primarily the one in Austin, Texas, surprisingly, has been an awesome partner. I do like 2 shows there a year. And I'm going to go in a few weeks, I guess, sometime in August. And we usually do like a pre night where I kind of have a secret show going on and then a bigger show in their like cinema room. And it's always it's always a challenge because I'm not doing the type of work that I necessarily always want to do as a magician. I'm not doing my show as heavily theatrical, but it is fun to kind of have a mixed bag of all sorts of types of magic. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
How do you begin building a show? Do you start with a trick or a story and then it goes from there?
Yeah, I mean, both, I think. I've done both. I think with this show that I've been working on for 2 years with my partner and friend, we've had an idea of what we want it to feel like and what we want to talk about. And there's probably tricks I want to incorporate in it, that I'm thinking about. But really, right now, it's about the feeling and the idea. And, the show's called Magic Happens in the Dark. And really, the idea was let's do a portion of it in the dark, which has
Mm.
sort of shifted and it's more metaphorical, though some of it is in the dark. And it's become the show about more of like an internal darkness and fighting with identity and shadows and whatnot. So, and there's certainly like we're redoing it for a theater in Beverly Hills. I'm really excited about in the fall. I think it's going to be quite a big thing, and it's 3 rooms, so it's kind of an immersive experience as well. And there's certainly effects I'm wanting to do that are more original, that are a little insane. In that I'm thinking about that's kind of shaping how we want to reframe it and
Right.
do some rewrites. So I don't
Right.
know if that answers the question.
No, it definitely does. You do some visceral pieces of magic, one of them being your razor blade routine. What draws you to that sort of discomfort or tension like in some of your work, especially that one?
I love body horror. I loved David Blaine doing crazy stuff with his body as a kid, and I think the mixture of emotions of disgust and awe and discomfort and nervousness is so satisfying. I love that as a viewer. Any sort of film that gives me that feeling or piece of theater that's just so confusing that we don't know what to call it. It's
Mhm.
very sexy to me. Uh,
Yeah.
Funny enough, I might not be doing the razor blades in this next iteration, but I do love a moment where I can milk it, you know,
Right. 100%.
and sit in that tension and silence. And I think silence is so important. And I definitely think it's overlooked a lot in magic how we use silence because we don't always have to be speaking.
Yeah.
and it's this piece that doesn't really require any speaking, but people
Right.
know what's going on still,
Right.
right? And yeah, I just love the as an actor too, the sort of different emotions it can evoke in me and how I want to present it, which in my case I present it real, very
Right.
real.
Right.
Um, and I think it's just such an interesting way to do magic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's interesting. I feel like the king of silence is Michael Skinner. You know, those
totally.
moments of just taking that extra time and tension to turn the card over and then turning
I
it
love it.
over and the audience is like and like that whole, even when he's doing cups and balls, there's I don't know if you've ever seen the clip of him in the 70s doing cups and balls on Japanese television.
No, we
And
see it.
yeah, I'll send it to you. It's somewhere. There's a link for it somewhere. And he's doing it. And there's a moment where he kind of like, he really fools us because he has the ball and he's like he's duping us. It's gone already. And then he opens up his hand and it's gone. And we're just like, oh, wow. Okay. Got it.
I
Like,
love it. Gives me
but
chills. Yeah,
yeah, he's definitely one of those, aside from being like a really pretty hand mover and things like that,
right.
that tension. And he does that even if you've ever listened to the Skinner tapes, which is him and Alan someone. No,
Better
Alan
before. Never mind.
Oken.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I'll have to
They
listen to
were
that.
friends and going back and forth, and they would send the tapes to each other. And someone would ask, he would ask a question. Oh, I'm working on, McDonald's Aces, and what do you think about it? And then Skinner would get the tape, and then he would record his answer and things like that.
Love it. Yeah,
But even Skinner explaining these effects, how he does them, it's just he even explains why it's important to take forever to turn that last ace over when we're vanishing it or whatever
yeah,
it is. And it's so good.
yeah. It's
I
that moment where you can feel that you have them in the palm of your hands, and I
Yeah.
don't. I think it's a sacred moment. You don't want to mess with it too much, and really, there's a good balance.
Yeah.
Good balance with it all. There's a lot of power there.
Before people get pissed off, right? Where they're like, just fucking turn it over
Yeah,
already.
like I'm not sitting there like, what's coming out of my mouth?
Right, right. What
I don't
is it?
know. Mouth coils.
How much of it is choreographed? How much of it, the timing, the breath, silence, how much of it is instinct, really? And how much of it is choreographed?
It becomes choreographed. I feel like over
Yeah.
time. I mean, a lot of it is instinct. I'm working with a friend of mine who is a director, and I am lucky in that a lot of the show is choreographed, and I don't want it to ever feel like it is choreographed or feel like it's scripted. But I do feel like that's important to
Yeah.
have those beats beaten out before. But some things like that, you don't know until you start performing it where the beats necessarily need to go or
Mhm.
how audiences will respond. So I'd say it's both choreographed and instinct for sure.
Have you ever stepped off stage and thought to yourself, because your magic is can be personal, and when you're performing pieces that are a little bit more personal, do you ever step off and kind of like, maybe I gave too much of myself away to the audience where you're
Yeah,
just
totally.
really?
I mean, this show that I'm been doing has been more and more personal each iteration, and there's always a fear of there's a want to be seen and a fear to be seen.
Mm.
Well, that's just me in a nutshell, to be honest. So
Well, that's
it's
my
all
fear with this podcast, to be honest with you.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's a fear to success too that not a lot of people talk about. Of just it's so fun and easy to think about these things and have them in our little boxes, but
Hmm.
to really be vulnerable and
Yeah.
put it out there is so scary. But I mean, every time I get more personal, unfortunately, the show keeps getting better. So it's a little bit of a bummer, but I think there is always a conversation of do I really want to talk about this? And I talk about it with my business partner, and now I have a new sort of creative director that's helping me with this show. And this show is going to be a lot about my life and my childhood, and I I'm sharing things that are personal, but it's done in a way that feels still very I don't know, sacred and
Hmm.
very cautious about what I'm
Hmm.
saying, right?
Hmm.
So but it's the first time I ever performed the show called Magic Happens in the Dark, where I talked about some less desirable things about my past, it was scary. I
Mhm.
mean, and I remember this is a funny story. I was going on a date with a girl, um, newly dating this girl, and I took her to the show, and that's the last time we went out. But
What? Is it
so
really?
and she was
Interesting.
not someone that sees theater or
Yeah.
understands that perhaps some of it's exaggerated, perhaps it's not all real,
Right.
which is certainly true in my show. It's not all completely factual,
Mhm.
but
Y
based in the facts and based in truth. But yeah, I mean that was pretty horrible to experience that.
but I mean, you think of, like, In and of Itself, right? Which is
Yeah,
for Derek Delgadio is a personal in a sense, personal show, right? And he's
yeah,
putting it all out there, right? And you got people in the audience crying, and he's crying, and like everyone's crying. You know, people backstage are crying, like everyone's crying, right?
yeah, yeah.
I could imagine that when we're going to a show that has that caliber of emotion and you're sharing things that are like, oh, for some people, are like, I can't believe you shared that on stage.
Oh,
Like, that's
totally.
great, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, but I can understand that.
No, I'm it's a gift, I think it's all a gift that that happened, and I do wanna this is like a whole other podcast, but I do wanna be with someone that is, um
Hold
and
on,
look,
let me
part of
change
it
the
was
outfit. I'll put a therapist like sweater, and I'll grab a cup of tea, and we'll
please. I should have given her a heads up for sure, for certain
right,
things, but I think in general, there's people I wanna be with that are more encouraging
right,
in general, but,
right,
yeah, I mean, it's all, and man, I mean, Derek did such a good job of creating that feeling, right, of that
right.
evoking real emotion.
Mm.
But it's all theater and it's all part of the process. And I am really, and I've had so many people tell me, they're like, I can't believe you're talking about that. But I've just
But it,
grown as a person, to be honest.
yeah, yeah. I think that's the whole thing with me is like there's certain things that I talk about when I'm doing magic that are the same, like very personal, but it makes for great magic, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not my intention for it to be like I remember when this happened, and we're gonna put into
Yeah.
it's
Exact same. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's also my way of going through it too.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it also makes, it's very genuine. People, I think right now, also, people aren't interested in going to see theater that's like bullshit.
No. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I
People
agree.
aren't connecting to, like, people love theater, but when you have someone presenting magic and it's authentic and it's real and it's not like stage props and showgirls and, whatever is
Yeah.
choreographed and scripted all the way and you got to be, people aren't interested in that. And
Yeah.
especially when it's right under their nose sometimes, close
Yeah.
up magic is people want to relate. We're in a moment in America where we want to relate to things. There's a lot going on and people just want to, feel connected to each other again, I think.
I think people want to feel connected. People want to feel seen. And I want to feel connected and I want to feel seen. So, I respect the audience. And if I was an audience member, that's what I would want to feel. I want to keep making magic that is in that. And, granted, I'm not doing this at the walk around for so and so bank.
Right, right.
We're still doing two card money, not with any emotions attached, but got to pay the bills. But, as far as what I'm creating, I want that feeling of just connectedness. And that's, I mean, that's,
Mhm. It's
we are in a
intentional.
crazy time where everyone's isolated and we're all different, we're all yelling, but it just for a moment, just to
Mhm.
be in this world together and share this experience, I think is so beautiful. And it's like being in a film or being in a theater play or
Exactly.
being in a concert, right? Like that type of feeling,
Exactly.
I would say is really important to me. Although I've gotten a lot of, not a lot, but I've gotten criticism that you should just choose magic show or play. And I've fought that battle. And I'm like, you know what? It's not for everyone. So,
You're the creative,
yeah,
it's what you wanna want people to create and
yeah,
how
yeah,
you want it to be understood.
exactly.
At one point, you were calling yourself, I don't know if you were getting booked under William the Great, you were tied to that for a certain amount of time. Can you talk about where did that name come from? Because it's
Um,
classic, it is a classic, like
I think I was interested in doing a spin on classical magic, and I did this show under that name, and there was like videos of classic magicians in black and white, and that was interesting to me, and I felt like it was almost like a play on the old school magic when you wore tuxedos and gowns to see
Mhm.
shows,
Yeah.
and there was more of a real intention of going, kind of like when you go to the castle, like
Mhm.
you're dressed up. It's you're going for a night out.
Mhm.
Like this is your night, you know.
Mhm.
And I think that's lost in a lot of media or things we consume in
Mhm.
general.
Yeah.
So I think that was interesting to me. I think I also, and this is what my show is about, have, growing up hid behind the mask of being the magician just to be like seen and be loved and be popular. And
Right.
I think a lot of it felt like that was all wrapped up into that name of I'm just trying to do this to feel like I matter.
Right.
And yeah, and I don't think I realized that till recently. I just changed
Mhm.
my website, but if you're listening, it's about to be updated, so don't look at it yet.
Under construction, coming
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah. But
What was that transition for you? What was that like?
I mean, it's been gradual, man. I mean, this is a whole how much time you got. It's I have really experienced a lot over the last 4 years of my life, maybe probably longer, just some um real growing up and like refining of who I am and a lot of therapy, and I
Mhm.
can say this on the pod, rehab and
Mhm.
effort into myself and a lot of trial and error of antidepressants and anxiety.
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
all of this has been tied into my journey as a magician. And so to me, it feels like a moment where I am taking off the mask of the magic man of William the Great and really bearing myself instead and just all its vulnerability. So, which is, I mean, that's terrifying. It's kind of like, didn't Dynamo kill Dynamo? Yeah,
Yeah. He's going by,
his name,
yeah, his name, yeah.
which we don't, I don't, Steven?
Stephen Frayne, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is even more badass, by the way.
So if I was famous, I would kill William the Great on a special.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it feels very like a former version of myself. And I think the last half of a decade has been really refining and hard. And I'm excited to see what magic looks like for me next.
Yeah. Well, that's a really good segue into the end of the episode, but we're not there yet. What does the next evolution of your magic look like visually, emotionally, and
Mm,
possibly even spiritually, like you were saying?
yeah. I'm really, I think storytelling to me is really important in telling stories. And I don't think I'm going to always be talking about Will Coile's struggles and things, I mean, God, I hope not. But storytelling, I think, will always, and I feel like that's a thing, a cliche in magic, but, really leading with the story, I think is more important to me than any sort of method or anything.
Right.
And I think that's going to be kind of the real North Star for me is and my show that I'm doing, it's gonna be for hopefully only 10 it's in October, probably small, like 10 to 15 people, and it is going to feel like church in a way, like a communal experience from crucifixion to resurrection, but certainly like a death to life, sort of death to something, life to something else, death to something, life. Yeah, and yeah, and I think the next iteration of magic will be less about me really focusing on I got to get these corporate gigs to I want to be really strategic and intentional about what I do and what I put out there.
Yeah.
This project in September I'm doing in Amsterdam called House of Magic is with four magicians. The guy who created butterfly cards is being there. It's awesome. Andre,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to pronounce the last name, but Andre. And man, Amsterdam, just a quick plug, has some awesome magic. And there are some awesome magicians and people there for real. I don't know if you have experience.
I have family in Amsterdam. I've been to Amsterdam, and they're Italian Dutch. They're my aunt's kids, so my cousins. And just I'm a huge like pro Amsterdam. Like everything they do, I'm just
Love
like,
it.
yeah, 100%.
And this club is called 10 Club, and it's this private members club, not just for magic, but they do there's like five different buildings. It's so beautiful. I don't even know how to describe it. It's gothic, cathedral esque. but also very storybook fantastical. There's different rooms, different themes in every room. There's like a meditation room. There's a bathhouse that used to have they found skulls from World War II
Oh
in
wow.
this bathhouse. So it's a very like maybe haunted, but I think like sacred place and very
Yeah.
interesting rooms. And they put a lot of money, but it put a lot of
Yeah.
time and
Yeah.
effort in there, you know?
Yeah.
And last year I went, or September, I went and did close up magic, like in between in the bar. But this year I'm being featured,
Oh wow.
which is awesome. And
Yeah.
I'm really, all the guys there, shout out Tim, shout out Marco, are incredible. And the magicians that I met that went last time are just so nice. And
Yeah.
Rico Wieland, shout out. All these guys are just so kind, and I really vibe with the magic world there. And I'm excited to do it again. But like things like that are just
Yeah.
intentional and more strategic and more. That's interesting to me. I
Yeah.
don't. That's not corporate magic at Bank of
Right.
blah blah blah. So
Right. Right.
again, time and a place for that, and I love that.
Right. Right.
And I like to make money, but
Yeah, but you're in a world that you're relating to. You're in a
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you feel at home.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, I'm doing these sort of vignettes and film festivals, and that's been really interesting doing magic in that environment. So I think just more intentional, theatrical, spiritual magic for me.
Yeah, talk to me about you were at the Cannes Festival.
Yeah.
What
Crazy.
crazy, amazing. I always keep up with them every year that they do it. It's one of my favorite things. What year were you there? You were just there or
Just there and the year before.
so were you there when Robert De Niro pretty much like
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
So were you sitting in the
No.
were you okay, you weren't able to I was gonna say
No.
I'm very curious to know great message, whatever, but I was curious to know like how everybody actually received it there. Like did they
Yeah.
walk
I
out of
mean,
like holy shit? Like
unfortunately, I'm working, so I didn't really get to go like, to a lot of events outside of what I was doing, or like on yachts with Leonardo DiCaprio, but probably this year. No.
it's we'll make sure that happens this year
Yeah,
for
Leo, if you're
sure. Maybe
listening,
you don't want to go on a yacht with Leo from
I probably don't, just what I've heard about him.
yeah.
It might be scary.
It
So,
might yeah.
yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
What
We
what's
go
go
ahead.
ahead, I'm sorry.
You.
What
What?
scares you more, being misunderstood or being fully known? Well, fuck those plans you had because we're
Let me
gonna
just
be here.
call my therapist really fast to be fully known.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine is being misunderstood.
That's quickly under it, but I think really, if I'm thinking about it, it's to be fully known.
Yeah, I'm okay with joke around that my alter ego is like Post Malone before he went country
Yeah.
because when I enjoy drinking, I become like this really nice guy where I just want to
Yeah.
talk to
Because you're a mean
everybody.
guy.
Yeah. I just want to talk to everybody and be
Yeah.
like, "How's your mom? How's your dad? How is everybody?" And saying thank you to everybody all the time and, a cigarette in the hand, like just really relaxed. And
This sounds like a magic character. I like this guy. This is a magician.
I have
You
another
bust out some
friend.
cards too?
No, it's like a double-edged sword for me.
I see.
I like people knowing that I'm a magician, but I don't like being a clown where I'm having to be put on.
And so when I'm drunk, all bets are off.
Really? We're getting the whole show
You're
or like
seeing card to wherever you're seeing. Yeah, I mean, well, it depends on the crowd probably, but if I'm with like people I love and friends, it's happening.
that's
But
awesome.
otherwise, I don't want to be same. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be a clown,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's really interesting though. I never thought about that. Maybe I should start doing that.
And
Yeah, no, I mean, well, I have a huge doctor's bag and I keep it in my car with me just in case I need to go in. And I'm like Fantastic Beasts. I open it. I'm like, what do I need to? What should I put in my
you pull
pockets?
out the
And
giant straw. What is this?
no, no, no. I was gonna have a
Yeah.
bad joke there, but never mind. I think it's interesting to also think that sometimes you don't always want to be on either, because as a magician, it's like it's cool to be on. It's fun. Sometimes you like fuck it. I don't. I just want to have a drink and quiet and like just chill.
It's one of those jobs where people don't like. No one's asking a comedian to tell a joke. No one's asking an
Right.
actor to give us a monologue.
Right.
Um, so it's not almost like appreciated in that way or seen as I don't know. It's interesting, and I get the
Mhm.
intention behind people wanting to see it. They're
Yeah,
just
yeah.
excited, and they don't hear a lot of this and meet people like this. But man, sometimes I just want to drink an old fashioned. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Is there a performance or magic that you've seen that changed the way you see your own work or your skills or craft?
I mean, it's hard not to say Derek Delgadio.
Right.
That is an obvious thing. But although, I mean, that's certainly not the first thing I think of. I just feel like that's something I have to say. But
Yeah.
he certainly has made an impact of what you can do with magic. Let me think about this because this is a good question. I feel like I have seen magicians that will just do a trick for one person. I don't know if this is
Mhm.
something I've seen or I don't know, but that is more of an influence for me. Just this special secret moment that no one will know about that's just for the person and the participant, you know? And
Mhm.
yeah, I'm trying to think of specifics. I mean, the obvious answers for me are Darren Brown, Derek Delgadio, probably Blaine, just from the
Mhm.
theatrics. I love, here's one. I love Nate Staniforth.
Yes. I was waiting to see if you were going to even
Yeah,
bring him up.
I can't believe that wasn't my first answer. Erase all of that. Nate
He
Staniforth. Because,
100%.
I mean, come on. I mean, come on.
Did you ever see his magician DVD when it came out? He was
Uh,
touring colleges, I think.
I've seen a lot of it on YouTube, so not the DVD, but
Yeah,
yeah,
there's he's like super young. I mean, I don't know his age, but I would imagine he might have even been in college himself. But he's doing shows at different colleges, and it's so raw and so Nate, right? Like authentic, raw, but captivating the audiences the way that he does is just, if you can feel that at home watching it,
totally. It's a master
100%.
class of performance
Yeah.
style, and I took some of his classes during COVID. He had a class, and I have some of his book. I have his book, Clouds and
Canyon.
Castle Canyon, something
Yeah, Clouds and
CNC.
Canyon. Yeah.
Um,
I didn't get it, but
and
I want it.
we can talk.
Yeah.
I don't want to get rid of it. Yeah, I mean, his two card transposition is something I used to do a lot. I mean, just what he's done with just two cards switching places. It's so simple. His magic's
Yeah.
so simple,
Yeah.
but so beautiful, and just you feel comfortable when you're with him.
Mhm.
You know, you
Yeah.
feel it's kind of maybe I don't want to say it's like what I'm doing, but similar to that feeling of like me in the coffee shop with the barista. Like that's what I
Mhm.
want my magic to feel like. Is just
Yeah.
so you're comfortable. This is simple. This is you know it's okay. Yeah, it's just so interesting. I mean, I love even his
Yeah.
lottery prediction is so beautiful and simple. Just with a paper ball and a wallet and um yeah. I mean, I've emailed. I've never met him. I've emailed him a few times. And he was uh,
Yeah. I think when we're performing magic that way, we all have our own idea of what we want the audience to take away from it. What do you hope your audience takes away from your performances when you're done or when the curtain comes down or
well, it's I think I want them there's a few answers to that. I want them to feel like that this didn't feel like a magic show, that it felt like I guess I mean, I keep saying church, man. This is a theme.
Yeah.
Like a spiritual and not like I experienced God, but I
Yeah.
experienced something with other people and that was really special.
100%. I mean, I think that's along my magic journey so far. Like I've done it, in small groups, but the smaller it gets, I feel like for some reason the more impact of what I'm trying to do is.
Totally.
And the best moments I'm having lately is sitting in a kitchen with, friends or family or whoever's over. And literally, like I said, this is kind of like circumstance and being like, I'm working on something. Can I show you guys? And most of the
Yeah.
time they're like, oh, fuck, here we go. This is going to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
great.
yeah.
And they all congregate. I don't tell them
Yeah.
like, get up and come over. They just congregate, right? And you're
Yep.
taking a moment and a beat to and then you begin and do everything.
Yeah.
I feel like that is so special to me, even though it is friends and family. Yeah. You know, I come from the restaurant industry, so it's the same thing
Right.
when we used to have like Sunday dinners, family dinners
Totally,
together.
totally.
You're getting the most out of talking to the people that you're working with because you're so busy doing ticket times and this and da 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 that you know your coworkers, but the magic of Sunday dinner, sitting down and talking to everybody, you're getting
Yeah,
to know Travis, who's the expo and things like that. There's
yeah.
magic in that, and I feel like it's the same thing.
I agree. Yeah, and I really the smaller the audiences have been getting, I've just enjoyed it. And I think I used to have the vision of I'm going to be on stage in Vegas and I'm going to make this disappear and the car appear. And but I've been doing these moments like in these film festivals where it's been at 2 in the morning and we're in a coat closet and there's three of us and a spotlight or a candle, not even a spotlight. And it's like this interruption for people that is
Right.
such a spiritual experience, and they're like, no one's gonna believe this, right?
Mhm.
And that to me, just feeling some sort of interruption in their life that is really positive and warm and connected is all I want. And truthfully,
Mhm.
I want them to see me and think, he doesn't seem like a magician, because I
Right.
feel like that is important to the experience in a lot of ways
Right.
of people how they think of magic. And
Right.
the people that think and have negative connotations with magic, I do want them to experience something a little bit different. Not saying I'm that's like a holier than thou thing, but I do want them to experience something different.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have like three more questions for you.
Yeah.
When somebody asks you, what do you do? How do you answer that question?
It's always fun when I'm dating on a date, if I meet someone
Yeah.
on an app. I usually say I'm an act well, I usually say I'm a performer.
Okay.
And then if they keep digging, I tell them, well, I'm a magician and I do magic in unique settings, like unique scenarios. And a lot of my magic is more like performance driven and narrative driven. So it's a long answer. But I
Hmm.
guess if someone on the street stopped me and said, "What do you do for a living?" I'd say magician.
Yeah. Yeah.
I fight with it. I fight with that name all the time.
Me too. Me too. I like magician, but magician, I feel like with the way the industry, well, let me rephrase that. I like the term magician, but I feel like the small percentage, that's a growing percentage of people in the industry, performers, who are cultivating it differently. For a magician to actually be more meaningful than I'm hiring a magician for my kid's birthday party.
Exactly. And that's still what a lot of people think of.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
A very close friend of mine put me on to Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. I don't know if you've ever.
Yeah, I haven't read it, but I've been recommended it many times.
Yeah,
So
it's a really. There's a show too.
yeah, 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 sure.
And I watched the show and I've read the book, and for me, it aligns with my beliefs on magic,
I should
which
read
is
it.
that. Yeah, it's interesting. I get a lot of flack. I get a lot of pushback on my beliefs in magic, but I think you, along with the percentage of people, are doing what is supposed to be, what it's supposed to be for
Yeah,
magicians and wizards and conjurers or whatever.
yeah,
We're changing the narrative a little bit.
totally. I thought
Yeah.
of two things. Another inspiration of mine. Have you read the book Night Circus?
Night Circus. No, but I'm gonna write it down.
Super good. It's about magicians that are battling, kind of, but it's just the theme of like the circus. The first line is like the circus. Shit, what's the first line? It's written more eloquently than this, but the circus
Hmm.
appears out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's this circus that just the next day you're in the middle of your town. It's kind of circus vaudeville, beautiful. So I recommend that book
Yeah.
for
Very
sure.
cool. What was
Also,
the second
John
one?
Wilson is definitely an inspiration of mine.
Yes, I agree. It was a privilege to have him on here and get to pick his brain on some things because him, Jared Koff, Paul V. Hill,
All of those, yeah,
Luke Germain,
yeah,
I call them the Wizards because they had the Way of the Wizards. Did you do the Way of the Wizards convention? Did you attend it when they had it during the pandemic?
yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
On Pink was
No, well, Jared had his thing that was like his masterclass on
on his
Penguin,
website.
but they
Yeah,
did three or four different seminars, and like one of the guests was Luke Treme one time, and then Max Maven, and then
Mm,
somebody else, Jason England, I think maybe. But they were great because they're cultivating not a community per se, but they're
yeah.
cultivating magic in a really positive way. It was great. I
You know a
absolutely
guy named
loved it.
Lucas Handworker?
Lucas Handworker, no.
Good guy for the pod. Used
Okay.
to be a magician much more, is now like a hypnotherapist and healer. Really good friends with John and Jared. He lives in upstate New York. Really interesting guy. Still does magic in his show, but man, I've been to his show and it's so interesting. It's like a reading, it's like a therapy session. He's got a great newsletter. Just a really cool dude that would probably have a lot of good things to say.
So the last two things I have for you are where can, if magicians want to reach out to you, young magicians want to contact you, where can we find you? Where will you be? Shameless plug, enter here.
I feel like an imposter syndrome again. Yeah, I mean, I think Instagram is great. My website, like I said, is certainly under construction, though it's there. But my Instagram is just my name, Will Coile, Coile. I'm going to be traveling, performing through September, but doing a little show at the end of August in LA, and then my big re-premiere of this production is going to be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every Thursday, Friday, Saturday in October in Beverly Hills at this little theater.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then the last thing I have for you is our last guest was Christian Cagical, and he left a question for you. So I'll read that, and
Wow.
then you
Okay.
kind of answered it, already throughout the episode. He said, "Hi, Will. When you're creating your own shows, in other words, not for a client or corporate event, what is the spark, the first light bulb, the initiating idea? Where do you start from to create your work?"
Yeah. I mean, I think I answered it already a little bit, but it definitely changes. Like when I had this show in New York, I did one night called Bloom. It was a flower that inspired it, and it was in a flower shop, and it was all very much about a flower. I think right now it's really about me and like what I'm going through and therapy and things I'm working on and that's coming up in my life. I think it just changes, man. It comes through a lot of like journaling and self-reflection, and that's typically how I kind of pick out. I'm also curious in like old psychics,
Mm,
and I'm thinking about a show that's like very more fictional and not presented as real by any means, but acted as real, you know?
yeah.
That's interesting to me. And so I don't know if I have a clear answer for that, but it's always changing. And I think the important thing is just to remain open to whatever the world is giving me, and to constantly remind myself, well, to constantly have like that childlike mindset of just
Mm-hmm.
exploration.
Right.
Um, and a zest for life, which I think can be so hard nowadays to have.
Yeah, it's true.
But finding your own life and your own truth and your own reason to keep going.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Well, I think it's great. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for taking time to be here and sit with me and talk and chat about many different things. A lot of people afterwards say, "Man, that was like a therapy session for magicians."
yeah. Thank you guys. Thank you.